What if the dinosaurs never went extinct? It's one of the biggest what-ifs in the history of, well, everything. So in this explainer, we're gonna do it. We are gonna rewind the tape of life 66 million years and really dig into that fascinating thought experiment. You've probably thought about this, right? It's a classic sci-fi question. If that one gigantic asteroid had just zipped on by, would we see, dinosauroids building cities and launching rockets today? It's super tempting to think so. But the real story of evolution is, well, it's a lot more complicated and honestly, way more interesting than that. And boom, right off the bat, here's the twist. According to paleontologist Nick Longrich, the answer is a pretty firm probably not. So if it wasn't going to be intelligent dinosaurs, how in the world did we end up here? To figure this out, we're going to open up the case file. We're going to look at 3 crucial pieces of evidence that show why our own existence was such an incredible long shot. Okay, first up, the asteroid. We always think of it as this purely destructive event, a catastrophe that just ended an era. But you've got to see it another way. It was also a creative event. It wasn't just an ending, it was an opportunity. It wiped the slate clean and cleared the stage for a totally new act. And that new act is the Cenozoic era. Hey, that's our era, also known as the Age of Mammals. This is when things really start to get recognizably modern. The world was basically a blank canvas, and evolution was about to get weird. And I mean really weird. With the dinosaurs gone, evolution just went wild. Mammals and other survivors absolutely exploded into all these new roles, leading to some truly bizarre creatures. I mean, you're talking about snakes the length of a semi-truck. You have hoofed, cat-sized mammals that were somehow taking their first steps back into the water to eventually become whales. You've got giant, flightless terror birds taking over as the top predators. And of course, the aptly named hell pigs. This was nature just throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick. Okay, so let's move to our second clue. A blank canvas is great, but what you can paint on it really depends on the tools you start with, doesn't it? Well, in the same way, an organism's basic biology, its evolutionary starting point, puts some hard limits on where it can possibly go. And this quote from Nick Longrich just nails it. The paths you take open certain doors and close others. Evolution is exactly the same. You can't get there from here. Your starting point really matters. Now, what's so fascinating here is the huge difference in strategy. You can see it right here. For over 100 million years, the dinosaur playbook was pretty consistent. Get big, but keep the brain relatively small. On the other hand, mammals took a totally different path. In less time, they went for this explosive variety and, this is the key, they kept evolving bigger and bigger brains. And this wasn't some one-off fluke. Check this out. Whales, elephants, and primates, all from completely different branches of the mammal family tree. They all independently landed on the same solution: massive, complex brains. So the takeaway is pretty clear. If you want to evolve a highly intelligent species, a mammal is a really good evolutionary starting point. Dinosaurs, they just weren't on that track. So we have our cosmic opportunity, and we have the right biological starting point. That must mean intelligence was guaranteed, right? Nope, not so fast. This brings us to our final and maybe most important clue: an enormous dose of pure dumb luck. Just think about our own family, the primates. We are living proof that this group is capable of evolving into us. But here's the kicker. It only happened one time, in one specific lineage. The potential was there, sure, but it was absolutely not a guarantee. And this right here illustrates just how much of a lottery this all was. When primates got to South America, they just evolved into more types of monkeys. Fine. When they got to North America, they went completely extinct. It was only in Africa, with this unique cocktail of environmental pressures, that one single ape lineage got pushed down the bizarre and unbelievably unlikely path that led to us. So, let's review the case file. When you put all 3 of these clues together, the verdict is, well, it's crystal clear. Our presence here is the result of a truly improbable chain of events. So here it is, the recipe for humanity. First, you need a planet-altering disaster to clear the board. Then, you need a group of animals with the right biological potential for large brains. And finally, you need an unbelievably lucky roll of the cosmic dice to push just one of those lineages down the path to consciousness. You take away any single one of those steps, and we are just not here. So the ultimate takeaway here is that our evolution was anything but inevitable. We are not the pinnacle of some grand directed plan. We are the ridiculously improbable and maybe even unrepeatable result of a cosmic accident, the right biology, and pure random chance. Which leaves us with a final, kind of mind-bending thought. If you could rewind that tape of life and hit play again, would anything remotely like us ever emerge? The evidence suggests probably not. And that, maybe, makes our brief existence all the more incredible.